Right, it's in here, but I haven't got keys.
You forgot the keys in the car and then lost the car keys?
Yeah, in the office, which is now locked. Yeah, so we're in Ashington at the minute, which is where our office is based, and these are pretty much old mining collieries. Ashington was one of the biggest mining colliery towns in pretty much the UK at the time, and all these rows you've got, I think it's be better off like 12. I think it's about 10 rows going down, and then there's about 12 streets going along, but each house pretty much runs from like 0 to 300 in each street, and then obviously your rows, I think you get about 100 maybe, so it's a good chunk of houses, yeah.
And why do you like buying at the collieries?
I mean, it's just because they've got like sort of figures, so it's really good, and like, so we know if we buy a 2-bed, it's going to get valued at 65,000 if we do our quality refurbishment. Not just that, but they're really good for renting as well. So when you rent them, you pretty much know straight away you're going to get about £600 per calendar month.
Is it pretty landlord rich, the collieries?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, I mean, quite a few of them actually, a few of them are residential, but I mean, area-wise it is landlord rich, and that's why you won't see as much appreciation in the back end. They've always sort of stuck at like a penny stock, so they've always been cheap, and then as a rule of thumb, they're probably always going to be cheap. They might push up because the area is currently getting like a metro station put in, like, you know, Newcastle has, and that could help appreciate obviously the area a lot, but at the same time, at the end of the day, they still sort of got like a ceiling price. So I wouldn't expect them to appreciate too much, because obviously there isn't as many first-time buyers wanting to buy here as to landlords.
Houses?
No, it's definitely made, but let's have a look. So this is the house. See what the boards. A little bit of a breakdown on the house is an ex-rental, and the tenants left in pretty bad nick. Let's see. So we'll have a little look in. So you can see it's going to be fully ripped out, but the electrics and the walls are actually in good nick, so we're going to keep them. So you follow through. In these houses, this is where the electric and the gas is. So you've got your boiler on the right, and it's all had brand new piping, and it's actually just had a CP12 because the property was literally just came out of tenancy. Same with the electrics. The electrics had a full rewire throughout. We'll then go into the bathroom and have a little look in. All the windows are boarded because this gentleman rented to a family friend, which we never recommend, and in doing so, the house has been wrecked. And then we're in here. This is the living room. That's the front elevation where your garden is. You've got your sockets. You've had a little bit of damp in this corner. This comes from the downpipe on the guttering. So what they've done is the guttering wouldn't have broke, and it's been running down the wall without getting fixed. And then pretty much what's happened is it's just penetrated through the wall. So you can see where they've even tried to fix it in places. Also had our gas meter taxed. That's been stolen. But yeah, so you can see where the white piping is, where they've had it replaced. So what's happened is that's all just been running down this wall, and it'll just penetrate through all the old pointings. You can see the pointing is really shot on this property, and these wires don't help either, because obviously they create holes and they help water get in as well. So if it's rising damp, because obviously you've got to rip the wall right back to brick, and you've got to tank it, and you've got to inject it as well. So when you inject it, you're making a new membrane, so it's like a damp proof around the area. Then you tank in it, so the tanking stops the water from coming through. So the tank's like sort of like a plastic sort of thing. And then on top of that, you normally put sort of a sandy scratch plaster on, and then that stops it. It's a bit more gritty, so the water kind of penetrates through, and then you put a normal plaster on top. But you're going to be budgeting about £20 per square metre for rising damp in a minute. Penetration's a little bit different, because in this instance, we're going to have to get this repointed. The chimney stack at the top, you can pretty much see it looks like it's leaning. The next door's had their chimney done, but not got ours done. So what that means is what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get the whole bottom of the chimney re-leaded, So that's obviously the leading you put around, and then we're gonna have to get it fully repointed, and then we're gonna cap off the top of the pot to stop the water from getting down, and then that'll eventually dry out the downstairs chimney area, which is already going to be injected with damp anyways, but it just stops the problem from coming back. But yeah, we've also got a few slip tiles. You can just see them just little gaps and things. So what we're going to have to do with that as well is you're going to have to get them replaced, but because these properties are quite old, they haven't got membranes. So in the roofs you have like a membrane, like a plastic sheeting, like a damp proof, and that stops water if a tile slip. Obviously in this case, since these are so old, they haven't even got the membrane, so if a tile slips you can have the whole obviously ceiling fall down, which we've had quite a few. We just bought a house not long ago which the ceiling fell down in, because an issue just if a property is boarded, that can lead to retention on your mortgage even if your property isn't boarded. So say for instance next door, that is our house, we want to remortgage that house, but because this house is boarded, the banks will see that as a risk to their loan and then retend obviously the amount they will lend. So you might get a reduction in your mortgage, or they might value the property at zero. All the doors are going to have to be replaced as well. This front door has been kicked through. So you want to come have a little look. I'm going to need new banister in here for regulations for rentals. And then up here you've got your standard, this is the sort of the single dog leg room, but if you have a look, they've actually, lights not on, you've got a bit ripped off this door on this side and that side, so they've obviously had a bit of a row there as well. This would be a good shot, so this is going to have a full 4 foot stroke 6 foot fence all the way around, depending on what the client chooses, which is recommended really because you want a bit of privacy, don't you? So and then this is sort of like your master bedroom here. Again, it looks like there's been a dog. It's usually a dog. What's good about this, if you got this exact property, you can do pretty much everything yourself. Like you could fit a bathroom if you get one of your friends or something to do on the cheap, and you could do the same with your bathroom, you do the same with your kitchen. You get someone to whitewash it for cheap, and what's really good about these houses is you're not messing with a lot of money. It's only £30,000, so if you even got that on finance like a bridging loan, it's only like the better half of £300 a month. But the problem is some people jump in at like 80 to £100,000 bridging loans, which are costing about £1,000 a month. So if you make that mistake and you're on that bridge for 5 months, that's £5,000 you've lost. But if something like this, if you take a little bit longer in your refurbishment, you've only actually lost 1,500 quid. Which is, it's massive, and it's just so simple, and you get a freehold house which is always going to rent out, and you're going to get a great return. Like on your first net cash flow, you're going to start making £4,000 a month, and if you get 5 of these for your first ones, you start making £20,000 a year net, and that's massive. And you're just stretching your money, and I just think this is where I started one of these, and I think it's a really good first investment for the numbers. We're up to about 100 houses, well 70 to 100 houses at the minute bought in like the last 6 months, and I'd probably say probably the better half are like 5 to 10. So it's like more than 10% of them are in this sort of setup, because you've got another one at the end of the year is Hawthorne Road. And we pick up quite a few along there, because that's like sort of, it's funny because like you get like, it's anything in like certain streets, 2 beds, they all have like ceiling prices. But like for instance Hawthorne Road, Alexandra Road, they all have a little bit more, because they'll have a garden, a front and back garden. So like, you know, we've just had a tiny little back garden, but the other ones have like off street and have front and back gardens, so that adds a lot of value. So bought a lot on Hawthorne Road. I think we probably bought like 4 or 5 on Hawthorne. Thanks for watching, and thanks for obviously following along on our cheapest property we've bought this month. We're going to be putting out a lot more content recently of just everything that we're buying, but we're going to be following this story along, show you the property once it's finished, and obviously the process of it getting done as well.